Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Train Sim World 2020. And welcome to the Rhein Ruhr Osten DLC. This is a BR185.5 MRCE in your basic black. And we're going to take it end to end on this route. It's about 27 kilometers. And we're going to do it with no HUD using PZB and SIFA. If you're into this sim, you know what that means. So we're going to have a seat right here. HUD goes off. Now, when the HUD goes off, it gets rid of everything. We get very little information other than what we get from the console, right, and from the world around us. But we really don't get any tips or hints. And that's what we want. So, I've done this a few times. Practiced it, as it were. Let's go back here. We're going to turn our headlights to headlights. Confirm our parking brake is off. It is. We're going to turn off SIFA. Turn on SIFA and PZB. Oh, it's been a morning. It's been a morning already. Day hasn't even started yet. Headlights to bright. Wipers on. There we are. Reverser to forward. I'll be as careful as I can with the mouse here. Right? I think everything is good to go there. Everything is good to go there. We've got a green signal there. In fact, we're rolling already. Let's get a little power going. Now, I know, just off the top of my head, I know that the speed limit for this yard is 40 kilometers per hour. All right, so what we're going to do is as we pass this signal right here, which is green, as we pass this signal, we are going to acknowledge PZB. I'm going to do that with page down. But there is a, there it is. There is also a control for it on the console right there. So that voice you heard when I acknowledge, that is the signal that I get in cab. And I've done my best to try to learn and memorize the signals that are used on German railroads. They're a little bit tricky and they're not implemented perfectly in this sim, particularly on the rapid transit route. So it's like a double whammy. They get you coming and going because it's difficult enough to learn it when it works properly. It's even harder to learn it when it's got little bugs and flaws. But on this route, I think it's pretty good, and we're going to try to go end to end without having any emergency stops. So what'll happen? Well, I'll tell you what both the systems are as we're rolling here. So SIFA is the easier one of the two to deal with, and we'll zoom in here a little bit on the console. See, it just lit up and says SIFA. That's the visual warning that I get. I think I have 2.5 seconds to acknowledge the SIFA warning before it goes to an audible warning. And you'll hear the guy, I'll miss it a couple times as we're on this route. The audible warning is just a guy saying SIFA, SIFA. And then same thing, you have to reset it. If you haven't reset it a certain number of seconds after the audio warning, then the train will go into emergency braking and come to a complete stop, and you have to reset it. So as long as you catch it when it's only a visual warning, you won't hear anything, and I'll do my best to do that. And then the other thing is PZB. Now LZB, as I understand it, LZB on the high-speed routes, on the high-speed German routes, is an automatic speed control, but on the slower routes, like the one that we're on, sort of a metro route, and also with a freight train, I believe PZB just stops the train. If you exceed the speed limit, it throws the train into emergency braking. So combine those two, and I've got the SIFA and the PZB to keep an eye on. I've got signals coming by that I have to decipher, and they're not always clear. And then the last thing is we have to manually monitor speed limits on the trackside signage, right? So the only way that we know what the speed limit is by seeing the signs go by. So right now we're at 40, and I'm keeping it just under 40. And we're looking for signs that are going to let us know we can bump it up to go a little bit faster. So we'll get two kinds of signs. The little white squares with the number on it, that is what the current speed limit is, well, what it's about to become. When you pass that sign, the new speed limit is, right, that new number. And then the other is the orange triangular signs. So right, see that white 6? So we're at 60 right now. We can go 60 kilometers an hour. So we're going to bump it up. The other one you'll get will be the orange triangle. And we are we not? There we go. The other is the orange triangle, and that tells you what the speed will become in 1 kilometer. Okay, so we got another white square. We're at 100 kilometers an hour now for a limit, and this train, under PZB rules, this train, this weight, in these conditions, has a maximum speed of 125 kilometers per hour, regardless of what the speed on the route is. And at a later point on this route, it'll go up to 160, but we can still only ever go 125. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that's under unrestricted, what they call normal conditions, normal mode for PZB. There's also 1,000 hertz, 500 hertz. It's a scene, man. It's a proper scene up in here. But I'm getting it figured out. It's a lot of fun. And I'm surprised, as realistic and challenging as I like my sims to be. I am, we just went to 130 for a speed limit, but again, we won't cross over about 120. Limit for this train is 125 regardless of the track limit. So as realistic as I like to sim, I've really been playing this game like with one hand tied behind my back. I don't know. There are a lot of realism features in the game that I just wasn't aware of. And PZB is probably the biggest one. It's the trickiest one. There is a similar system on the U.S., well, on the Northeast Corridor route. There's a similar system for American passenger trains. And there's a driver alerter system similar to SIFA that's used on American freight trains. A lot to look at here. But neither of them are, well, the ACSES system used on the Northeast Corridor route is also, sadly, unfortunately, broken and needs a little bit of work, and we'll probably never see that work. The driver alerter system for American freight trains and all UK trains is, there's the SIFA audio warning, it's a pretty simple system. You just need to acknowledge the alerter periodically, and you also need to, you get an audio warning when you are getting close to a signal. You get an audio warning like a couple hundred meters before a signal. Right, we're good there. Green over green. So both of those are, they add something to the game, but neither of them, nothing really that I've found in the sim, in Train Sim World, is as challenging as this PZB system. And that's when it's been implemented properly. Rapid transit, it's broken. It's just broken. But on this route, as far as I know, everything works properly. And if we can get this to happen, it will be our own initiative that makes it happen. So good on us. We're going to try to do this. This is how I'm playing almost exclusively now. And it definitely adds a lot to the game to not have that speed limit displayed down there in the HUD. It really does add a lot to it. I'm loving it, man. I like this sim a lot. I know I go on the Dovetail forums and it gets a lot of flack. And as a company, I'm not a huge fan of Dovetail. I don't really like their business model and the DLC and everything, but the sim itself it's a blast. I really, really like it. All right, green over green, and we're still 100 kilometers an hour. Well, 130, but for us, we're going to try to stick to about 100 kilometers per hour. And we've really got to watch for those orange signs indicating a change coming up. Now, we will get on the towers, on the signal towers, we will get, so 160 over here. You just saw that sign go by. But we're going to keep it at just over 100. Now, we will get the signal towers, the actual illuminated signals. We will get a signal indicating a reduction in speed, and then we confirm that, or we determine what the actual new speed limit will be by looking for that orange triangle with the new number in it. So there's plenty of stuff to keep us aware of what's about to happen. It's just a question of spotting it and deciphering it, making it all make sense. And you know what? If we do have emergency braking, I'll probably just reset that and we'll continue on. My OCD would make me want to start again and do it right from end to end. But you know what? Sometimes OCD can just deal with it, right? So that is what's going on. What else is going on? I'm really digging into railroad signals around the world. I've been spending a lot of time on various Wikipedias and various fan sites and really trying to get a handle on it. There are people that they just devote themselves to it. Man, I think I'm OCD. There are people that are just totally into this stuff, and good for them. I'd say all the time, my OCD is the kind that I can joke about, and when I do joke about it, like, I'm in the club. I'm definitely sympathetic to it. I have the kind that is sometimes annoying, sometimes funny. I know for other people, their OCD it's not funny at all. So when I say people are that into railroad signals, it's like people are into anything. You know, people have their hobbies. All right, here comes an orange sign. We're going to drop down from 160 to 130. Does not affect us, but we will be aware of it. And green over green, no aspect change, so we don't need to acknowledge the PZB. So yeah, I've been digging into railroad signals around the world and all the different systems that are used in different countries and different places, and it is fascinating. It's a little bit different. I guess you still need to be trained on a route. You still need to learn a route. It's not like driving, right? Once you know the basic signals, right? And there's our white sign indicating we're now in a 130 distance signal. Everything's still good. Once you learn, like traffic signals in the United States, once you learn traffic signals in the U.S., you can drive anywhere in the U.S. Like whatever your hometown is, they're going to be the same signals next town over. And you can probably get by in Canada, Mexico, metric system. You'll be all right. I don't think it's necessarily the same with trains. I think you do need to sort of learn a route. Orange sign says we're going to 120. That is something we might want to take notice of because we're certainly under 120, but we're getting down toward 100. And that's when things start to get a little bit interesting. Yes, we will be under the speed limit. I know that probably doesn't make us the best locomotive driver, but I'd rather be under than over. So this signaling system, yeah, I think once you crack the code, you know, you're that much further ahead of the game. I mean, in real life and in sim gaming. But I think you also need to specifically learn the route because some things will sneak up on you, and particularly a passenger route. Now at 120 kilometers per hour. On a passenger route, you need to know when to begin slowing down for the stations. And I don't think there's any way to learn that other than to just be trained on it and practice it. So for us as sim gamers, we can just do it as many times as we want with the HUD up and sort of come up with our own breaking points. But we need to memorize them. We still need to know where they are because other than that, with the HUD off, there's no way of knowing that you're getting close to a station stop. There's no way of knowing that you're getting close other than to see the station coming up. And by the time you can visually see it, it's very often too late to stop, sometimes at all. Let's slow down a little bit here. Sometimes at all, and certainly in a way that maintains passenger comfort, which is kind of a big deal. Green signal, good to go there. And we really do need to brake a little bit. Yep. So yeah, I'm having fun with it. I recommend it, and it is only the very comprehensive system is only on the German routes. There are systems on the American routes and the UK routes, but they're I don't want to say they're simple. They're just different. They're representative of what those systems are like in those countries, and so they are sort of abbreviated. Maybe I guess is a good way to say it. All right, still green. The white dot on that indicates an upcoming signal. It's called a repeater, I believe. That's green. Yeah, it's fascinating, and what's fascinating about it is these systems, because they're for safety, the safety of trains that are extremely heavy and cause a tremendous amount of damage when they crash. Right, 150 km/h limit. The systems need to be unambiguous, easily understood, quickly understood in all conditions, different types of visibility, day, night, weather. They need to be unambiguous. They need to be, they need to communicate a tremendous amount of information quickly in ways that cannot be misunderstood. And that sort of engineering and that sort of design, those design goals, that stuff fascinates me. Always has. Since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated by engineering and what goes into keeping infrastructure running. I love it. I love it. All right, so we are. I'm just keeping my eyes out for signs here, because I know we've got a couple of speed reductions as we get close to the end of our route here, which we'll be at in another 10 minutes or so. And so I'm really being aware of those. And we will get, we'll see a graph at the end of the route showing how close we were to the speed limit. The 0, what does the 0 mean? I don't know if that was a mile marker or some speed indication. And I'm definitely touch typing now as well. I got my fingers on my keys that I know I need, mouse and keyboard style, and everything else I am just like laser focused. I thought about doing this in a live stream, but there'd be no point. I couldn't interact with the chat at all because I truly cannot take my eyes off the windscreen. I would not have time to be able to look up a chat even for a second. I know it sounds like I'm being mental about it, but if you're into this game, if you've tried the no HUD PZB test, it's something else, man. It really is. A lot of video games are like that, though. A lot of video games, when you see somebody playing it, either on live stream or on a pre-recorded video, YouTube type video, see somebody playing it. I mean, if you're into gaming, you can know how difficult some of this stuff is. But if you're not really into gaming, or if it's not a game that you're familiar with, I think it's easy for anybody. And I do the same thing. It's easy to look at a game and think, oh, that's not that hard. I'll try that. And you buy the game, you download it, you try it out. Good grief. Watching iRacing events is like that. See the lap times that these drivers put up, and you think, oh, it doesn't look that hard. And hop on that track in that car and see how close you come to the lap times that the pros put up. All right. Green over green, still good. Now, some of these catch me out. And even when they catch me out over and over, coming to that signal, I have no idea why I'm going into emergency braking. I just know I am. All right, here comes the reduction. We're going to drop from, I believe, 160 to 150. Doesn't affect us, but good to know. And that will happen at 1 kilometer. Yeah, some of these signals just, they ding me, and I don't fully understand what I did wrong. I just know they ding me. All right, so we got green over green. Good to go there. No aspect change, no speed change. We're okay. All right. I do want to start slowing down, though, because I feel like we just went to 150 for the track limit. So we're okay. And signals up ahead. Oh man, this gets a little dicey toward the end, because I know we do need to slow down as we get to the yard. And doing that, I mean, you want to brake as late as possible, because you want to maintain as much speed as possible to get your cargo delivered as quickly as possible, right? Industry, commerce, capitalism, yo. But you gotta be safe as you do it. So it's a balance. This looks like, all right. Is that a yellow? That is a yellow. So we're going to start braking. Yep, we're going to brake to 60. We acknowledge that. We're in a 1000 hertz zone. We need to be under 70, which we will be in a second. I think we have 29 seconds to get under 70, but the speed limit that we're coming to is actually 60. So I'm going to slow down to 60. And again, probably an abundance of caution, but I'd rather go too slow than too fast. And go into that emergency braking mode. It's quick enough to recover from, but I'm guessing as a train driver, that would be like, you would not want that to happen. That would not be cool. All right, and we've got green over green, but we're going to acknowledge this one just the same. I don't think we have to, but I'm going to anyway. And when I was first practicing this, literally every signal that I passed, I was acknowledging it, and I found out didn't need to do that. There were plenty that I could. Green over green is the best one, or a repeater, something showing a distant signal that is green, or a repeater. I don't think you ever have to acknowledge, even when it is showing yellow for something up ahead. But I was just banging on that acknowledge button. Could not be safe enough. All right, and we are, yeah, our frame rate's starting to tank a little bit, so we must be getting close to a yard. All right. And I'm seeing some freezes too. That's not typical of late. I have to take a look, see what's causing that. All right, green over green. Speed limit is 60. We are going about 55, so we're okay there. And I believe our next drop is to 40. And that will be as we enter the yard proper. And then we can roll all the way up to our red signal at 40. All right, we've got, I can see a signal up ahead. I'm going to slow down to 40 now. And again, some of this I've sort of memorized, trial and error, all the mistakes that I've made on my way through previous trips. All right, and that's putting us, keep it below 70. We're at 50. We're okay. I am gonna drop it down to 40. I don't think we're at 40 yet. We may be. We'll find out when we review, check the tape when we get done. I think we're still at 60 right now. Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll find out. And that's us more or less done. Yeah, we're in the yard now. And I think our next signal is going to put us onto the siding where our stop signal is. All right. So we need to acknowledge this as we pass it. Yeah, I think we may have been over for about a kilometer there. I think we were at 60 when we should have been at 40. Maybe we'll find out. I'm very curious. I didn't see a 40 sign, but it's possible. Again, like I was saying when we first started, I think some of that stuff is you need to know, what defines the limit of a yard. When are you in a yard versus when are you on a line? When you're in a yard, you need to be under 40, but where does the yard begin? So if you've been trained on a route, or in sim gaming world, if you've practiced a route or just understand the route enough, there's probably some visual cue or marker or something that you can use to remind yourself, okay, I'm in a yard now, regardless of whether or not I saw an indicator. I know the limit here is 40. Concentrating. When I get quiet, I'm concentrating. You do that. All right. And there is, I know at the other end of this tank line right over here, there is the red signal that we stop at. So I'm going to pivot the camera up a little bit. I had it down so you can see the console a little better. I'm going to rotate it up so we can see that signal a little better. And this is us right here. Start braking right about here. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, oh my goodness. All right, let me see. No, there was just one little point early, right over here where we were just briefly above the limit, but when it dropped down to the yard limits, we did okay. All right, very cool. Very cool. There you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. I'm going to just start again. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World 2020. We'll see you next time. Take care now.